Hello and welcome to part 4 of this video tutorial series from BlenderCookie.com. My name is Jonathan Williamson, and in this part of the female body series we're going to be working in on the nose, and if we have time, although don't keep your hopes up, we're going to work on the mouth a little bit. But first let's focus on the nose. So we've already laid out all of our edge loops in the previous parts, primarily with these two, or this one here, and then obviously this portion right in here. And so we're going to start by just kind of filling in the gaps. We're also using the same references that we used in the previous part for the eyes, so we don't need to change anything as far as our background images or anything. Now, the one thing that I will go ahead and note before we get started is just the difference on the side view for the nose orientation versus the front view. And this is actually due to when we modeled the original edge loops, this has been changed a little bit, so all we need to do is hit N to bring up our properties panel. And then right down here under face_side, I believe is the one. And let's just move it along the x-axis just a little bit. Maybe not quite that far, somewhere right about in there. We'll go ahead and do negative 0.056, should be about right. And negative 0.06. Okay, so what we have to do here is kind of look at the mesh overall and kind of see how things are orientated. So you'll notice that the lips are just a little bit behind the edge loops here. The nose is definitely in front, and then the eyes are a little bit behind. So really, it's just rotated a bit weird. So we're going to go ahead and leave it actually where it was at, which was negative 0.062, which leaves the mouth and the eyes roughly in place, and then we just kind of have to tweak the nose a little bit. So this will be mostly one of those things where after we finish the modeling, then we'll go in and actually finish off the nose, kind of tweak it, make sure that the shape is right, and go from there. So one thing I'm going to do is also go ahead and increase the size of the display status down here for the keystrokes so you can see it a little bit better. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to hit Tab to go into edit mode. And the first thing that I want to go ahead and do is just start filling in the holes where I easily can. So this means, right here, I can select these 4 vertices, hit F to fill a face, maybe select these 4 right here. Again, fill that face. And then I can very easily see that I'm going to need another edge loop right here. So I'll just hit Control R, add an edge loop, maybe move it up a little bit, hit 3 to go to side view, put it approximately there, maybe move this forward a little bit, down a little, and then I can go ahead and fill in an edge loop right there. And that just kind of helps me get started. And the next thing that I want to do is define some of the major features of the nose, and obviously one of the most prominent things as far as the topology is concerned and our mesh to kind of prepare for everything else is the bridge of the nose, which currently we don't actually have an edge loop for that. You'll notice we only have this one and this one right here, so I want to go ahead and just add in another one right in the center. But since the bridge of the nose is relatively flat, just slightly rounded, the way that I'm going to do this is hit Control R, then left click to add in the loop, and then I'll just slide it towards the center to be almost up to the edge, but not quite. And then I can just left click, and then if I just hit G and move it out along the x-axis, that then gives me a slightly flattened, rounded bridge of the nose, giving me, in fact, almost a perfect shape there. So then, maybe I can just tweak some of these vertices just a little bit to get this slight rounded right here. This portion, kind of like 1/3 down the bridge of the nose, it generally bows out just a little bit as it goes down along this muscle flow. And then the smallest point is generally right in between the eyes, which we'll work on in just a little bit. But first I want to go ahead and get the major topology forms down. Let's go ahead and work on this area just a little bit because you'll notice we've got this slight pinching, and this is because this vertex is overlapping this one here. So I'll just bring it in along the x-axis, which helps form the edge of the nostril as well. I can bring these down a little bit, these down, just kind of start shaping things just a little bit. And then what I want to go ahead and do next is work on the tip of the nose and the actual nostrils. So to get this shape in, what I'm first going to do is just add in another edge loop right here at the base, right about there. Maybe I'll bring it down a little bit. And then I'm just going to select this edge and fill in a face right there by hitting F. What this then allows me to do is just very easily, say, add in 2 more edge loops with Control R, then scroll up once, left click, and then from the side view, I can go ahead and pull those edges out to then shape the basic nose. And maybe I'll go ahead and pull these center ones up just a little bit more. So that's very quick and easy. And this just about gives me the shape that I need for the nostril as well. So what I'm going to do is just Alt-right click to select this loop, and I'm going to start by just hitting E to extrude, right click, and then S to scale it down to kind of put that loop in there, because what I want is to have a continuous face loop, just like this, going around the nostril. But you'll notice I need to do a little bit of shaping because I really want this edge loop to go right around here and kind of just go around the perimeter of the nostril itself. But right now it's going all the way up here. So what I'm going to do is just delete this vertex here, hit X, delete the vertex, and then I'll go and select this edge, and this edge, and I'm going to then fill in a face right there. Then what I'll do is add in another loop right down the bridge of the nose, maybe bring it in just a little bit. Take this one out just a little. Maybe these ones can hit, we're going to hit Control E, edge slide up just a bit. Just kind of smooth out some of those vertices. You know, we can worry about adjusting the vertices later in order to get the actual detail, but until we're at that stage, we want to try and keep things nice and smooth. I'll go and add in another edge loop right here as well, which then allows me to either fill in a face right here or just connect them. And I think what I want to do, if we just take this down, I'm first going to adjust this face loop to just go around the perimeter of the nostril. Something about like this. Bring these in, bring these in. I'm going to go and select this edge loop. I'm going to hit E to extrude, scale it in, and then take it up, such that I'm actually creating the interior of the nostril. And then I'll extrude one more time, scale it down a bit more, and again, just take it up. This doesn't have to be exact. You know, we're not worried about the overall actual form of the nostril just yet. I just want to get the topology in there so that we actually have the mesh to work with. Bring those out. And then I'm going to go ahead and just select these edges here, or just this one edge, and I'm going to hit V to rip it apart, such that I can then bring this down. And then I will go ahead and reconnect some of these faces here, just like that. Go ahead and reconnect this one as well. And then I'll smooth some of these out. This then gives me a lot more volume to the nostril. That looks good. That also allows me to just fill in a face right here. And then what I'll go ahead and do is select this loop here, and I'll hit V, rip that apart, and then grab this one as well, and hit V and rip that apart. Then I can go ahead and Alt-right click to select this loop. I will hit Control Tab, go into Edge Mode, deselect this edge, and then just to fill these, I'll hit W. And using the Loop Tools add-on, I'm just going to select Bridge, and that will fill those right together. I can then go ahead and maybe select, say, these three edges, hit Control E and Edge Slide, bring those down. Maybe I'll bring these down along the Z-axis. And that starts to look pretty good. Maybe I'll grab this edge and this edge, pull them in a little bit, pull that in. Just kind of working with the shape a little bit. Sometimes I like to work in edge mode. It kind of gives you a different perspective on just the way that your mesh is constructed. It allows you to kind of tweak things more based on the surface rather than the individual points. And that may not make a lot of sense, but you know, if you start playing with edge mode a lot, you'll kind of see what I mean. It may not be for everyone, but sometimes it works really well. I like to do the same thing with face mode as well. So here I'm just kind of continuously tweaking the shape in edge mode again, just to kind of get what I like. And a lot of times, since in edge mode, you know, I'm working just with the surface, which is what I want to be doing anyway, because I'm still kind of defining the forms, defining the topology. This allows me to work with a, you know, higher number of vertices at a time, since with every single edge that I select, I'm actually working with 2 vertices rather than just a single one at a time. Sometimes allows me to excuse me, work on more of the mesh at a time. So bringing that up, bring this down here a little bit more, rotate that. Go ahead and take that in. I'll hit Control Tab, go back to vertex mode. I want to select these vertices. I'm going to hit W and smooth just a few times. Bring these down to better match our reference. Okay, I want to bring the inside of the nose in, about right in there. I'll go and add in another edge loop, just like this, and then I'll go ahead and select this edge, Control E, slide it up, about like that. Bring these in along the x-axis. Take these back a bit more like that, maybe scale it up, scale that up. Go ahead and bring that out just a little, that out just a little bit. That's starting to not look too bad, but I do want to go ahead and add in, say, one more edge loop right in here, and then I'll select this one, edge slide to take it back up, and then what I want to do is round out the tip of the nose a bit more. A good way to work with the nose is to kind of imagine that it's made out of 3 spheres, such that if I go ahead and actually just add in, say, a sphere right real quick, Shift A, Mesh, UV Sphere, I'll scale it way down. So the tip of the nose kind of has one sphere, and then each of the sides are made out of another one. So if you then just take this, we'll go and hide everything else. Take these in here, take them back, scale them up, bring them back, and then if you were to duplicate that across, you can kind of see how this shape right in here is actually made kind of out of the spheres. So actually, if I use my grease pencil, you can kind of see that a little bit more clearly. And this actually helps a lot. Even from the side view then, you've kind of got this shape going back in there. Then it's obviously connecting here. And then kind of connects in through here. And so using those 3 spheres idea really allows you to get a more accurate shape to your nose. Now, it's not necessary to actually go in and add those spheres. A lot of times after you've been modeling for a while and are more familiar with the underlying anatomy, it becomes easier to just kind of visualize that shape. So we can see I've got a sphere in here, and so on. Now, on some of this, I definitely don't have the perfect shape yet. The sides of the nostrils definitely need to come in a little bit. It's definitely too thin. This part right in here, come in a little bit. That starts to look a little bit better. Maybe the entire nose is a little bit too triangular from when viewed from the bottom, so I can bring that out a little bit. I can maybe take this down just a bit, take that out a little, and then that starts to look a little bit better. Okay, I can also shape it a little bit more to the reference image, so I'll bring the tip of the nose out, bring this part up just a little bit, bring that out a little more, maybe give her a bit more shape right in here, a little bulge to the front of the nose, about like that. Suddenly starts becoming a little bit more accurate. And you can see, immediately our face is starting to come together just with those, that little bit of addition of the nose here. And then something else I'm going to go ahead and do is add in one more edge loop right through here, simply because it then allows me to get a little bit more shape to the overall form, keep it a little bit more rounded, whereas before I was seeing a little bit of stretching, particularly in areas like this. Now I've got a little bit more room to kind of even that all out. Same thing here. Bring that up. Bring that in. And I want to go ahead and select, say, these part down here, Control E, edge slide, bring it down. I'll select these ones, bring it down a bit more. Can maybe take these two, Control E, and edge slide, take it up. So it just gives me, definitely a bit more freedom to shape the nose how I want. And that starts to look pretty good. Maybe I'll smooth this out just a little bit more. Bring these out a little. Okay, I think that'll work for the time being. I do want to go and add in, say, one more loop right here as well, which will let me kind of smooth this out. You know, I was definitely getting a little bit of pinching right in there, and so I'll sort that out just real quick like. Maybe slide this up a little bit, slide that along a little, and there we go. This also allows me to go ahead and maybe add in a little bit more shape right in here. You know, I can kind of rotate these around, bring that down a little bit, take that up, take that in. I think that starts to work pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start connecting some of these other areas. So I'll first start right here. I'll just fill that face. I'll go ahead and move this up such that I've got a straighter edge right in here. I'll do the same thing with this edge. Bring those up. From the side view, I can tweak the surface a little bit. But before I do that, it's going to be a lot easier if I go ahead and connect some of this in here. So I'll first start by adding in another edge loop, just like that. I will then select that area, hit F to fill in that face. Do the same thing right here. And then I can immediately see that I'm going to need another edge loop right in here. You know, I'm just getting a lot of very rectangular faces. So I'll go and add that edge loop now, just about like that. And then I might go and select this edge, maybe deselect from that point on, hit Control E, and edge slide, take it up. And then I can go ahead, bring that out a little, bring that out. Try and kind of work with the shape from the side view. That looks pretty good. This is definitely pinching a bit too much. Maybe same thing here. Bring those out. Maybe bring these out just a little bit more. You know, kind of show that muscle connecting right to the nose, or not the muscle, but the flesh and kind of the muscle. Okay. Then I can go ahead and add in a loop right here, which before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead and just connect this like so, to just, you know, start getting the idea of how these are all going to connect together. I'll do the same thing right in here. I'll first add in another edge loop, and I'll connect that. I'll hit Control E after selecting that, move it over, fill in faces, and do the same thing right here. I can kind of move these over. I can see how that's going to start to connect, so, you know, I'm going to need to go ahead and add in another edge loop here, which is good because I want to anyway. Give me a little bit more control over the corners of the mouth, particularly the, you know, the muscle shapes in the corner of the mouth. So then I can go ahead and connect this like that, and this like that. I can go ahead and bring this out a little, bring this out a little. This shape, or this edge right in here, is a little funky. I really don't want that connecting all the way down there, so I'm going to go and select these three, hit V, rip them apart, and then I will decide what to do with this in just a moment. And actually, you know what I think I want to do is I don't like that I've got so many edges right here, but I want to keep those same edges here. So what I'm going to do is just first select this edge loop. I'm going to hit X, delete that edge loop. Then I will select this one, hit X, delete the edge loop, which then just connects them both here. Hit Control Tab, go into face mode. I've now got these two triangles here. So if I go and select this one, hit Control T, convert that to a triangle, I can then go ahead and just select these, hit F to fill in a face, select these, hit F to fill in a face, and then that gives me a diamond right here, which helps kind of control my topology. So now that diamond is the turning point for this mesh. So you'll notice that if I select all this, you know, I have an edge loop through there, or I still have an edge loop to there, and all the way around there. So that still works nicely, and allows me to go ahead and say, hit Control Shift Tab, go to Vertex Snap, snap that one to there, that to there, and that to there, and gives me a much nicer edge flow after removing the doubles there. What this also means is it allows me to very easily say just add another edge loop here, goes all the way through, and gives me a bit more to work with the overall, you know, flesh and muscle and such. So maybe I'll bring that down a little bit in there. Kind of trying to approximate between this wrinkle and this wrinkle just to understand the general flow of it there. I want to go ahead and Since I'm focusing on the nose for this video, I do want to go ahead and connect this right up here. Although I might smooth this out just a little bit. That out just a little bit. Bring these down a bit more. Okay, yeah, so I want to go ahead and work on this area right here. Let's first start by extruding the bridge of the nose straight up, but rather than extruding, I'm just going to add in another edge loop right here, smooth it out a little bit, and then select the edge and this edge and hit F to fill in that face, because then I can go ahead and just say add in, we'll just start with 2 edge loops, move it back, and immediately I've got that shape. So a lot of times I like to fill in a face between a large gap rather than extrude along it, because I think that then, adding in the edge loops is actually a faster workflow than, say, just extruding each face or each edge individually all the way. At least it works a little faster for me. So now I can go ahead and maybe select this edge and this one, since they line up nicely. Hit F to fill that face. I can see that these ones here work well, so I'll fill that. And then, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in this entire area. So first I'll add another edge loop here. Bring that down to smooth it out, bring it out, bring that in a little bit. Maybe take these in just a bit. This can come out a little. Then I can fill in this edge and add another edge loop here. Take this, Control E, edge slide, go right up in there, add in another edge loop. So I'm just kind of adding in edge loops where I need them to connect with the eye correctly. And if I then just kind of smooth these out nicely, I can then just select, say, all this, deselect everything up to there, deselect, hit Control Tab, go to edge mode, deselect that edge, and then I can hit W and loop tools and bridge to then just fill all those in. I can then go ahead and, staying in edge mode, I can select any one of these edges that I want, just smooth them out, rotate that around, and with very minimal effort, I then have all that area connected. So maybe I'll select this one as well, and then just to even out the distance between these faces and these faces, I'll just hit Control E, edge slide, take it out. Maybe the same thing here. And there we go. So now that's all nicely connected. I can maybe start filling in this. So first I can see I'm definitely going to need another edge loop in here. So I'll add another one there. I'll go ahead and connect that like so. And I can see that that's going to line up well. That lines up well. And then I'm definitely going to need, one more in here, because if you go into vertex mode, you'll notice that I have 5 vertices. So I'll just add in another edge loop right along the bridge of the nose there. Just leave it right about where it's at, although I might smooth it out just a little bit. Sometimes using a double edge slide where you first go one way, confirm, and then go back the other way can also be a good way to smooth things out. Then I'll just fill that there and fill that there, leaving a pole right in here, just like that, which then gives me my turning point. So if I go into face select mode, you notice I've got a loop here, got a loop there, and so this pole is kind of the central point that then controls how the topology flows from the bridge of the nose and around the eye. Bring that in there. Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. I'll save that. Let's go ahead and fill in the rest of the area up top. I can see I'll need another edge loop there. Fill that, bring it out a little. I'm going to need, looks like 2 more in here, so I'll just add in 2, bring that, and then let's go and hit Control Tab, go into edge mode. I'll fill these one at a time. I'm not doing edge or loop tools for this because I'm actually foreseeing a small problem that I'll point out in just a moment. Fill that to right there. It looks like maybe I've got an extra edge loop. So let's go ahead and delete this edge loop. And then the problem that I've noted is that we have this coming through here, but we've got, this needs to connect just like that, or that could connect like that. Oh, actually, that works out really well. So in fact, I don't have a problem. And instead, I'm just going to say select these edges, hit Control E, edge slide, bring them up. Maybe I'll select these ones as well, bring them up just a little bit. I can go ahead and select all of these, pull them out along the y-axis, particularly say these ones. Then we'll hit Control Tab, go back to vertex mode. And I want to definitely bring these out. I can hit Alt S to pull them along the normals if I have an entire face selected, or sometimes a single vertex. Sometimes the normals don't play friendly if you're just working with an edge or vertex. You know, friendly in the sense that it may not go the direction that you expect it to. Pull that a bit more. Pull that in. I want to smooth out this area right in here, so I'll bring this down. I'm going to grab these, bring it down to about there. Just kind of, tweaking this area a little bit to get a little bit more of what I want. And she really doesn't have a very defined, sharp bridge of the nose, so I'm going to maybe select these, hit W, and smooth them just a couple times, move them back just a little and make sure that my distribution stays nice and even. Maybe I'll do that double edge slide again. So you notice what it does is it shrinks it towards this edge and then goes back the other direction, allowing it to kind of go out in a way. That starts to look a little bit better. Maybe I'll pull that in a bit more. Obviously I've got a nasty bulge right there. Maybe these all need to come out just a bit more. And maybe all these need to come out just a bit more, about like that. And that's really starting to look pretty close to what I want. I'm going to tweak these a little bit. There needs to be a little bit of a groove right in here at the corner of the eye, and so I want to be sure that that's definitely there, which currently it was not. Bring these out a little bit, those out a little bit, and now you'll notice that I've definitely got a nice kind of shape right in there. Bring these out a bit more. Check things from the side view, looking pretty good. Maybe I'll straighten these up just a little bit. Get the cursor out of there just so I can see things nice and well. And right now, the main thing that I'm noticing that's annoying me is that this is kind of pointy right here. So I'm just going to take that and pull it in about like so to then kind of round out that corner of the nostril in there. And maybe I'll take this in just a little bit more. Take that out a bit. Take those in just a little. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll take those out and then these in to better get a natural shape to the nostrils there. Bring these out just a little bit. And I think that probably do it for the day. Okay, so in this section, we've looked at modeling the actual nose. We've got some nice clean topology in here with the face loops going around the nostril, kind of right inside, giving us a nice amount of definition right here in the corner. Any way that we want, we can make that more extreme. We've got a loop that goes all the way around. Well, actually, not quite. Okay, I'm going to do one thing here, and that is to improve this flow just a little bit. And to do that, I'm just going to select these two edges. I'm going to hit, or faces. I'm going to hit Control E and rotate edge again, So now what I have is an edge loop that goes all the way around the base of the nostril, and then this one that goes inside is then on the interior there. And what that does is then just gives me a little bit better flow as far as around the nostril. So now I can, take this, I can make that nice and sharp any way that I want. But I've still got, a nice limited poly count down below the nostrils. And, a very easy fix, literally just rotated the edge twice, which is a really nice tool every now and then. It just allows you to rotate basically the shared edge between two faces and, kind of change it to be a different direction. So there we go. Okay, that's doing the nose. Maybe I'll just tweak these a tiny bit more, get a little bit more bulge right in there. Other than that, I think we are done for the day. So again, thanks for watching. The next section, we're going to go ahead and work on the lips. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we didn't get time to get to those today, but they're important enough that they really ought to have their own section anyway. And I did just manage to mess that area up. One thing with poles is that they can cause nasty areas in your mesh if you're not careful with them. And so the key thing is just be sure that the area around them, unless otherwise intentionally done, it just needs to be really nice and smooth to not get a kind of a slightly distorted mesh and be very apparent that there's a pole right there. So there we go. All right, that's it for today, and I'll see you on the next part. Thanks for watching.